As far as our country, India, is concerned, we face multiple and varied security threats and challenges across the full spectrum of conflict, from proxy war to hybrid to non contract, conventional, and collusive wars under a nuclear overhang. Dealing firmly and vigorously with such challenges constitute as the primary qualification to simultaneously protect prosperity at home and our interests abroad. This is done through approaches to security that delicately balance competition and confluence without creating insecurity amongst our friends. Reform and revitalization of defense sector calls for holistic and integrated planning, military modernization, effective force posturing, synergy with industry and self-reliance. The restructuring of the Ministry of Defense gives us an opportunity to embrace forward-looking strategies to seize and exploit the moment and set in motion a dynamic transformation process that gives us the desired capabilities to prepare, deter, fight, and win wars in an era of high technology warfare characterized by increased lethality, exponential violence, and rapid pace. Here, I would like to highlight that the time has now come for the military to look towards technology because we cannot defend the nation, ensure effective surveillance and intelligence gathering with just human resources. I think time has now come to focus on technology, and I think we need to study in at some length the battles that have been fought in the Nagorno-Karabakh region between Azerbaijan and Armenia. This is a battle which has set the stage for how technology can defeat systems which may be far more advanced through cheaper means and with lesser boots on ground. This is something which we have to focus now on, and therefore our focus is now shifting on developing an armed force with technology orientation, focusing more on cyber capabilities, space-based systems, looking at artificial intelligence, looking at robotics, big data analysis, what have you. If we do not now imbibe technology, in the long term, we may get left behind, and that may be too late. And therefore, rather than banking completely on human resources for war fighting, we have to adapt ourselves to integrating technology along with human resources, not just for surveillance on our borders, for intelligence gathering, for looking at various issues for logistic support, and finally, of course, for war fighting. Because battles in the future may not necessarily be fought through as attrition battles as we have seen in the past. We may actually find that there may be a lot of fuzziness in the way two countries may come to war, because if the countries are going to exploit their you know their preference for cyber, their preference for space, their preference for artificial intelligence, then nations may not even get to know as to when we are at war with the adversary. And you may find that gradually you have been sucked into a battle. At the same time, in case our adversary conducts cyber attack on us, then are we to respond in the same manner, or can we apply a lethal force? These are issues that we need to address. That will cyber have to be addressed with cyber, or can you go in for use of kinetic force in case there are cyber attacks on your military entities particularly? Yeah, talking about the capability and the differential between India and China. As I said, we have been little slow on the start, and therefore over the years a capability differential has come in. China has been able to invest a lot of funds and allocated a lot of funds in ensuring that they imbibe technology. They have sent their people abroad to various Western nations to study their technologies, and therefore they've been able to imbibe some technology, and therefore they certainly have a lead over us. But let me tell you one thing, that while they have a lead over us, we are also evolving technologies to make sure that we come at par with them. But most important, where the biggest differential lies in the field of cyber. We know that China is capable of launching cyber attacks on us, and that he can disrupt a large amount of our systems. So what we are trying to do is to create a system in which we ensure cyber defense. And we have been able to therefore create a cyber agency, which is our own agency within the armed forces. Each service also has its own cyber agencies to ensure that even if we come under a cyber attack, the downtime and the effect of the cyber attack does not last long. We should be able to overcome that cyber attack and continue with our systems either through an alternate means or preventive means through firewalls. So while we are trying to create firewalls for cyber attacks, yet we are quite sure that they will be able to break through the cyber walls and firewalls, and we will have cyber attacks. But then what we are trying to do is how long will your system be down, and how will you be able to operate through that phase of cyber attack that you have been put through. That is one thing which is we are looking at and addressing in a very serious manner. But to say that there is no technology difference, I would hesitate to say that there is a technology difference between us and China, which we have to overcome. And we can overcome this only if we, I dare say, integrate the resources of the three services. Because I find that the three services are at different levels in as far as our technology orientation is concerned. And I would unhesitatingly say that the Navy is far ahead of the Army and Air Force in as far as the way they have imbibed technology. If you integrate, you will at least be able to catch up with them. And that is the way forward. So while we are behind China, we have to, I think, seriously look at catching up with China on technology. We may not be able to fully catch up with China, but therefore we are trying to develop some kind of a relationship with Western nations and to see how better we can get some support from them during peacetime at least, which will help us to overcome this deficiency that we have as of time.